Hey everyone. You know, when I, when with the possibility, and it seems like a strong possibility that the MLP FIM show could be going on for another few seasons, even after the movie, or even before that. I know I don't know, but one of the things I know about from being a fan of other things out there, other franchises, either it's a true blue fan, like, I'm one of the biggest Sonic fans in my family, if not probably in the world. Not saying that I have everything Sonic wise, but I basically have just a ton of stuff that is Sonic related. I mean, thanks to Frank Hill, it's Frank. I have a lot of Sonic stuff too. So it's not. I'm basically that. I guess you could say that's me being the equivalent of what someone on the Brony spectrum of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is. Now, as you have seen, I do have some MLP stuff, but it's not to the point that, again, it's not to the point that it's a huge collection or anything. I mean, I do plan. I mean, I have it in my Amazon queue, in my saved queue. I may have to get it from a third-party buyer, but I am planning to get several new MLP plushes. Two of them being Luna, one of them being Luna, and the other being Celestria. And I know that's going to be hard to get with the Luna one because she's very popular. But for me, I am planning to try to obtain those by next week. I may have to do the Luna one a lot sooner, just in case. I'm not saying it won't be there next week because they could probably order more. Because right now, according to the Amazon queue, there's only one left. So hopefully they get more in. But with that said, I am also considering, this might surprise people, of probably getting all 5 seasons that are on DVD right now. Yeah, I am planning to probably do that. So at least I can say I have them in the collection. Okay? Not unless somebody sends them to me, but that would be a surprise. But I am planning, if you will, I am planning on possibly obtaining those. You might be saying, well, Brian, why would you do that since you're, as you put it, sort of on the fence, kind of on that edge, you're like walking the line. Well, the reason, it would be kind of like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like this, I have the complete series of Gem. I didn't watch Gem that much when I was a kid, and I didn't really watch it that much when it was on the Hub, then Discovery Family, mostly because it came on late at night. But even on its decent times, I didn't watch it much. But I did watch it but I have watched it as a kid. So because it was part of my childhood in a sense, mostly thanks to my older sisters, I ended up being a fan of it, in a sense. And that fandom became one out of respect. Same with MLP. I grew up on the G1 one. So, growing up on G1 made me a fan out of respect and, as I said, nostalgia, which has now given me sort of a better appreciation at the fact that because of G1 MLP, we have this 4th generation, and this 4th generation is just blowing everything out of the water. What amazes me about it is, as I've said before, if someone like Lauren Faust would have came to you and said, we're making the MLP, the new MLP cartoon we're working on is going to break barriers, and it's gonna, it's gonna cross country or cross cut into all genders. And it's not just going to be young girls that are liking it. It'll be young boys and adolescent males and adolescent females and young adult males and young adult females, and even those beyond that. If she would have told you that it was going to basically be something that was going to change the way you viewed shows like that, no one would have believed her. And yet now you look 6 seasons later, it's like, wow. And again, it gives someone an appreciation. It piques their interest. With me, it's similar to Nickelodeon's TMNT. Yes, the show sparks my interest. Yes, it's a huge hit. Yes, I do collect the figures. Yes, I do try to, keep in contact with it, kind of keep up to date with it, with things that I watch. Well, not watch, but read. I also, listen to what my nephew said. I also hear sometimes what my nephew talks about when it comes to it. And, it's just one of those shows that when you know it's something you grew up on, you have an appreciation that it's continuing, and that's how you sometimes become a fan. But then there's something about it that just doesn't sit right with you. And with me, when it comes to the Nickelodeon TMNT, and I've said this before, what doesn't sit right with me is the fact that you've made April and Casey and even Karai into teenagers. Now, Karai being a mutant snake teenager with shape-shifting ability. Now, I can understand and accept the fact that just like with the 2K3 totals, 2003 to 2009, I can understand, and from that perspective, and especially with the finale, with the movie finale, Turtles Forever, I can understand that, it takes place in an alternate dimension. I can understand that, but, when I looked online, and even to this day, I've come to realize I am not the only one that does not like the fact that even if it's set, even if it's set in another dimension, I'm not the only one that doesn't like the fact that they made April into a teenager. I really don't. It's like, what's the point? And then on top of that, you also have April becoming sort of a mutant psychic a little bit. Like, she's because she has this power, you find out it's because she's half Krang in a sense. She's a mutant because she's part Krang, part alien. And it's like, where did this come from? It's like, where did this come from? It's like it just comes out of nowhere. And then you take Karai and you introduce her as a teenager. You add the element that she's Splinter's daughter, but then you mutate her into a shape-shifting snake. And, you make Casey a teenager, you take Irma and you basically make her a freaking Krangbot, so on and so forth. And there are a lot of things, and some of it's good and some of it's not good, because it's like, why? Why can't you try to stay true to what made some of the shows interesting? Why can't you keep April maybe an adult? At least make her around 17, 18. She's a year away from coming of age and being an adult. Why can't you do that? That's what kind of bugged me for a while until I found out the reason why. But when it comes to MLP, FIM, I think the reason it's such a success is not because of the creative staff and the writing staff behind them. Not just because of the characters that get developed in the main 6 characters as well that get a lot of development and stuff. It's not the fact that you actually focus in on not just the main 6, but secondary characters, background characters that become secondary characters, and they get a focus sometimes. They get a story centered around them. I think it's the fact that, unlike previous MLP shows, you can actually identify the characters. Yeah. I know that the original MLP G1 and even MLP G2, and heck, in a sense, the not so very popular MLP G3, I can understand that what made them, I can understand that, they did have their own diverse personalities. They had their own, like I said, they had their own diverse personalities and all that. And, they had certain designs about them that differed them. But the problem was, and I know some people are going to hate hearing this, but the problem was, in my opinion, was that even though you colored them different, you gave them different marks, cutie marks, if you will. You maybe added a bit of clothing to them. Maybe, like I said, you might have added a bit of clothing to them. Maybe you defined who some of them were because they represented this pony or that pony. But the problem was they were designed to almost look identical in a sense. Yeah, the hairstyle can change. You can have different hairstyles. You can make some of them Pegasuses and stuff like that. But none of them had a defined trait or personality or look, except for maybe, like I said, the crystal eyes and the Pegasus, and the wings and flying and maybe certain powers and stuff. They didn't really have that much of a look. Some of them, like I said, a hairstyle might have been different to kind of defer them, but that was it. You take a look at the commercials and it's like, oh, it's just a different color pony with this, or it's got, glass eyes now, and it's like they're basically the same design, the same mold. It's like they're identical. The only difference is the color and maybe their hairstyles and all that. The eyes were always basically positioned the same. MLP G2, which was My Little Ponytails, kind of, I think, fixed that a little bit. It fixed it a bit. It fixed it a bit by the fact that they tried to give them deferred personalities. They tried to make them look different in a sense that now you not just had the girl ponies, but you had boy ponies. And they tried to give the facial expressions more personality. I'm not saying the G1s didn't have them. They did, but this was more personality. And you could tell it was a different studio that was working on it instead of just the Hasbro studios. It wasn't, I don't think it was Marvel or anything that was working on them, but it was just a different studio entirely. And you could tell that they were trying to give each character, from the girl characters to the boy characters, defied, easy for me to say, different and more defined personalities than G1 did. Now G3, apparently, from the eyes of a lot of people, took a step back. Because even though the animation wasn't that good on some of the specials and stuff in movies, it's like they were basically almost the same, identically. It was almost like going back to G1, except, yeah, you tried to make them different. You tried to probably put a little bit of personality into the face, but it was almost like it was almost G1 all over again with the almost identical looks. And I think what makes G4, which is Friendship is Magic, so different is the creative staff, Lauren Faust, Megan McCarthy, and anybody else behind it. They did the research. They looked back and said, you know what? Let's take a combination of all three and make it into this. But let's take some of the best elements from some of them and mix them into here. Like, for example, with the personalities, the facial looks that really defy the characters. They got that example, in my opinion, from G2, from My Little Ponytails, because now you could definitely tell. You mean, like with me, you don't, like with a lot of people, you don't have to be an avid watcher. You don't have to be a fan, and if you will, but you could look at a certain one of the main six and go like, oh, that's Twilight Sparkle, or, oh, that's Rarity. You would know who that pony is right off the bat. Heck, I guarantee you, anybody out there, whether they watch the show or they don't, you show them, you ask them, hey, who's this pink pony? Who's this pink pony with the curly hair and the excited look? And they'll tell you, that's Pinkie Pie. And they could be someone like, and you can ask them, do you watch the show? And they could be like, no. And they can say, well, can you tell me who this pink pony is? And they can tell you right off the bat, that's Pinkie Pie. They can. And they will. They'll tell you right off the bat, oh, that's Pinkie Pie. Or, they'll be able to define who they are. And that's because they have their own defining looks now. And that's one of the things I give credit to G4 for. It's the fact that they have their own defining looks. And my finger hit the mic there. And it works. It really does. Now, I think what also makes MLP, like I said, MLP G4 Friendship is Magic so successful is due to the fact that, like I say, they take all those elements from the previous incarnations, mixed them up, and made them into what it is, into what Friendship is Magic is here. But it's the fact that they are able, like I said, to reference more than just, okay, let's take some of the best of the personality traits of certain characters, They're able to bring back other things and make them even better, and go to levels that I don't think they would expect you to take MLP FIM or MLP period. I mean, they brought back that one villain from the pilot in G1, and they had, who did they have fight him? Twilight. They had Twilight fight him. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if that plays a big role in the movie. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Another thing that has made this so different is they also put originality in there. And one of the originalities is, hey, why don't we have bad ponies? Why don't we have bad pony-like characters? Maybe rivals. And they do that. I'm guessing one of the stipulations to that is, yeah, you can have a rival pony, you can have a bad pony, but the stipulation is they got to be redeemed. They got to become a good pony in the end and start redeeming themselves. And when you take a look at all the different bad ponies they have had that have been rivals, mostly to Twilight, they've all become good. They've all slowly start to redeem themselves. True, they still have a bit of the traits and qualities that made them sort of a rival and a bad pony at first, but they're redeeming themselves. Like, Sunset Shimmer, Trixie, and now Starlight Glimmer. They're all redeeming themselves. Sunset Shimmer, that's a totally different story. It's like, she's like the face of the Equestria Girls spinoff. And we don't know if we'll ever see her back as a pony at all. But the point is, these original ideas, if you will, along with the other things I've mentioned, is what's making it a success. It's because it's taking everything past generations of MLP and then mixing them together, like I said, into a successful melting pot of good quality shows, good quality stories. True, they're going to have some hiccups here and there. The previous 2 weeks, I don't want to say much, have had a mixed reaction. But you know what? Here's my advice about that. If you don't like those episodes, if you feel they weren't done right, if you feel they were basically not that good, here's what you do. You take the mentality of Star Trek Voyager, where not just the fans, but the cast themselves disowned the Threshold episode and put it out of and took it out of context, basically made it non-canon, made it a one-shot deal. And that's what you could do with some episodes you feel are not good, or you feel are not, weren't done right, or you feel were cringeworthy, or just, basically make you question WTF, WTF are they thinking, or WTF we're thinking, well, you kind of get it, like WTF were they thinking, you could use those mentalities and basically say, you know what, to a lot of people, maybe to some other fans and viewers, this is going to be in continuity and in context and in canon. Well, you know what? I'm going to take it out of context. I'm going to take it out of canon. I'm going to make it non-canon. And if you don't like a certain episode, like the previous 2 weeks, and again, I don't want to give much away, even though I haven't watched them, you can go ahead and do that. Another thing I think that's really made MLP FIM so successful and different from previous incarnations is due to the fact that it's building to something bigger. That there was an overarching, over the past several seasons, it's all been one overarching arc that just continues from one season to the other. true, you can have your standalone episodes that'll be based in continuity and be referenced in future episodes. Maybe within that current season or within future seasons. But when you look at it as an overall spectrum, and this is coming from somebody that doesn't, and I swear, this is the honest truth, that doesn't watch the episodes that much, if at all. You know, as I've said before, I may watch a clip here and there. Yes, back in 2014, as part of my traditional holiday specials and movies DVD sets that I make every year, you know, I basically record, you know, holiday specials, movies, Thanksgiving Day parades, New Year's Rockin' Eve. Like I said, you know, New Year's Rockin' Eve, some of the Christmas specials, the Christmas Day parade from Walt Disney World or the Disney parks, all that. And on my 2014 edition, on disc 1 and disc 3, I have both episodes. The first Nightmare Night episode, which was the Halloween episode, and the first Hearth Warming Eve episode, which was the Christmas episode. So I do have those. I'm not denying that. I do have those. And getting back to what I'm trying to say here, you could see that they're developing an overarching story, that the whole past 5 seasons and even into this current 6th season, that it's all one big overarching story arc. It's one that just continues on and on and on. Like I said, you can have your standalone episodes, you can have your 2-part finales and premieres and all that, but it's always an overarching. But overall, when you look beyond all that, it's just one overarching story arc, and it focuses, of course, on the main 6, and mostly it's focusing on Twilight. Why do I say that? Because according to sources, even the lady behind it all at the beginning, Lauren Faust, Twilight is possibly going to be on the verge, storyline-wise, continuity-wise, of being the successor to Princess Celestia. She's supposed to, basically, from a continuity standpoint, succeed her. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going to do that, whether that's going to be taking place in the movie, whether that's going to take place in this season, or in the season that leads into the movie, or even in the seasons that takes place after the movie. She's supposed to succeed her as the princess, as the overall goddess, I guess you could say, empress, whatever you want to call her, of all of Equestria and what have you. Now, again, how they do that, I have no idea, and I'm pretty sure the more hardcore, more devoted, more since the day one fans, or since season 1 fans, might have a better idea, but I don't think, probably will have a more better idea, but I don't even think they know how it's going to come about. But like I said, it's, you know, one of those situations that you see that's what this series is. It's an overall arcing story arc that's going to lead into something at the very end when they decide the time has come to wrap it all up. It's going to lead to something big. And like I said, you could have your seasons with standalone episodes, 2-part premieres and finales, but we all know that with a certain series like this, and it's been shown from many shows that have been huge hits, that there's always that underlining, if not right in front of your face, story arc that's just continuing from one season to the other, but it's not right there where you notice it. It's not right there where you can be like, yeah, I see there's something bigger planned. It's there, you slightly notice it, but it's kind of along the lines of, yeah, I know it's there, but they're just not pushing it to the forefront just yet. But they will soon. So, to wrap this up, in my opinion, everything that I've talked about here is the reason why MLP FIM is the success that it is. Has broken the barriers that they have. And why they will continue to do so to the day it is decided or announced that it will be coming to an end. Either that's with the movie, which a lot of people have denied is going to be, whether it's in the next several years, who knows. But my opinion, from someone that's a fan out of respect and nostalgia and appreciation, a fan that doesn't even watch the episodes all the time, if at all, maybe watches a clip here and there, maybe records an episode, mostly holiday related, here and there. But from someone that does have, and I will admit this, does have the past 5 seasons on his Netflix queue, I will say this, because that'll allow me to catch up, maybe to have catch up whenever I feel like it, to have a better appreciation, to have a more better appreciation, I should say, and maybe convince me to try to watch it daily and maybe go and see the movie next year. But coming from someone like me in that position, it says a lot. Because there are several people like me that are that basically are exactly what I am. The fans, out of respect, appreciation, and nostalgia, they may not watch the show. They may have it on the Netflix queue to slowly catch up when they want to catch up. And, maybe maybe by doing that, they will get a much better appreciation to the point they may sit down and watch it daily or every now and then, and possibly be convinced to go see the movie. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say it, but I never thought I'd say it. I'm probably going to see the movie. I guarantee you, a lot of people that are just getting into this show or hearing about it and wondering why it's such a phenomenon are going to go see this movie. And I know because of the success that the show has been, the phenomenon that's become, the pop culture success that it is, you're going to have a box office hit right off opening weekend. It's going to make a lot of money. But I think the one thing we have to remember is the story has to make it a success. And I think, and I believe, not think, but I believe they will pull a great story out. They will make a great epic story for even those that are curious about this MLP deal, this phenomenon, and whatnot. They'll probably bring what I have a feeling is with the movie in closing is they're going to pull something out that even an average goer that's curious about the MLP phenomenon will sit back and say, hey, that was pretty good. I have that feeling. But we'll just have to wait and see. Overall, though, like I said, coming from someone, and there are others in my same position, I have nothing but respect and appreciation for the barriers that this has broken. And I believe that everything I've talked about is the reason it's a huge success. I really do. I know other people will have other reasons, and go ahead and let us know what those reasons are. But I'm a fan out of respect, appreciation, and nostalgia. And I know I sound like a broken record when I say it, but I may not watch all the episodes. I may have 2 holiday-related episodes, the 2 first holiday-related episodes on DVD. I may watch a clip here and there. I may be a fan of certain characters, as you'll probably notice. But I may be on the cusp. I may be walking that razor's edge, if you will, of whether or not I am going to be full-fledged brony or not. Then I'm on that cusp of being a tiny bit brony, but not yet. Like I said at the beginning, I'm more Sonic brony, if you will. I'm more Sonic fan, probably one of the biggest Sonic fans known on the internet, than I think I am when it comes to anything else. Well, that and Transformers. You kind of get my drift. But anyway, to me, as a fan, out of respect, nostalgia, and appreciation, and someone that might be a tiny bit brony, a little bit brony, but not there just yet, on the basically being on that razor's edge of either just remaining sort of like a neutral fan, basically that's a little bit brony, a little bit not, which is that razor's edge that I'm walking, or sooner or later might end up becoming full-fledged. We will not know. There's a lot of people like me that are like that, even to this day. So, or even as I speak. So, overall though, as a fan, that I know I sound like a broken record and I apologize. Out of respect, nostalgia, and appreciation for what the show has done, this is the reason why, in my opinion,